Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Tonight's webinar is Live Forex Market Review, so let's get into that. Before we do, if you can read through the risk disclaimer, if you're on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but you're more than welcome to join us. I've given you the link there. So everybody, please read through the disclaimer. If you have any questions, just put them to the chat box or the question box. Hello to you, Azu, and everybody else. All right, so I'll just give you a moment to read through that. Now, of course, yesterday we had the data releases from the Eurozone, the UK, and the US with their PMI data releases. Market got a little bit volatile. So we'll see where the dust has settled. All right, we'll move along. If you're new to the webinars, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at XAUUSD, and I'm a full-time Forex trader. I've been trading the Forex market now for more than 15 years and mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email's there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. Through the week, you can access my analysis at our website. Go to acy.com Market News tab or our YouTube channel, XAUUSD Australia, and you can connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn there on those handles. As well, through the week, we have our Telegram channel. If you'd like to get access to that, then just contact Nathan.bray. His email's at the bottom of the screen, but I'll put it in the chat momentarily. If you want to get access to my chart layouts and templates for MT4, the ones I use in the webinars, then just contact Nathan too. So I'll put his details in the chat. He's back from holiday now, so if you have contacted him and he was a bit slow getting back to you, well, he's just been away, but he should be catching up. His details are there. All right, so let's get into, first up, what news events are left for the week. So this evening, we got the US unemployment claims coming out. That can often drive the markets, depending on if it comes out on the figure expected, better or worse. And then tomorrow, we got the Eurozone German IFO business climate coming out. A couple of members from the FMC talking. We do have the first day of the Jackson Hole Symposium tomorrow. Day one. And as we move into Saturday here in Australia, we have Fed Chair Powell speaking at 12:05. President Lagarde speaking at 5 a.m. in the morning. And then on the midnight, we've got the US revised UOM consumer sentiment data. So the Jackson Hole goes for 3 days. So it'll be interesting to see what the Fed says. Does it say anything that will drive the market? So the market will be looking to that event. Of course, for 2 of the days, potentially the market's closed. But be aware of that event. All right. Now, of course, yesterday, we'll just scroll back a little bit. Yesterday, we had the PMI data for the Eurozone, French, German, the UK, and the US. And a lot of the data came in a little bit weaker than expected. And pairs did move down and then had a bit of a bounce back up. So first of all, we'll have a look at the dollar index. Now, this is the weekly chart, but if you jump into the monthly chart, you'll see that we're testing the old double top area to the left here. And we're just having a bit of a bounce there this week. Can we move above? Well, we're going to hold there. That's going to be the question over the next week. 103.82 is that level. And we did actually move above this lower top. So are we forming some form of new fresh uptrend? I mean, we could be dealing with a false break. We really need a little bit more data to confirm maybe a long-term bottom, because this really could be changing the trend, and then this could have come all the way back down maybe to here, form a right shoulder for a head and shoulders, then to move up. So just because it's high up at the moment doesn't say that it won't then have some form of correction and offer then a reversal later on in a month or 2. All right, so it's unlikely, because if I just do a little bit of analysis here, this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week move up. This has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week move up. And that move up was that length And we're of similar kind of, slightly shorter, but similar. The week hasn't finished yet. So that did actually move to a higher top there and then came all the way back down. All right, so it's not a given that we're massively changing trend here and going to see a massive shoot up. We could just do what we've been doing, being rather range bound, false breaking, changing trends on the weekly chart through the course of the year. So I'm not shouting from the roof yet that this is a long-term changing trend in any stretch of the imagination. All right. Now, day chart at the moment is still managing to hold to the day chart trend. It did show that rejection yesterday at that monthly level. All right. But we could, if we close above that level today, then we could be continuing up. So at the moment, it's still holding its trend. It needs to break below this low here, 103.06, to really, start to offer the idea that we might be moving back down. And S&P 500, this is the area that I kind of highlighted on Tuesday, the 79% level and that daily resistance level. Did just close above it yesterday because, the PMI data was weaker. So manufacturing is weaker. That may be suggestive that the economy is slowing in the US. And is that suggestive that the Fed may not be further raising interest rates? That's why the stock market's run up for one good day there. So if we, close below this area today, that could just be the rally for the next lower top forming. So what does today bring? Do we close back down below that resistance level? And have a day down on Friday would start to confirm the next lower top there on the S&P 500. All right, let's move into the euro dollar. So yesterday we dropped down on poor euro data and then actually managed to rally back up on the US data. So we false broke this weekly area, 108.33. Now we could be dealing with a complete false break to move up. We'll have to wait and see. We need some more days to come in here at the moment. This has been nicely holding to a downtrend. In this week, we've been failing just above 109. We've traded down to approximately 108. And, if we have a negative day down today, then we could be moving below this level over the next couple of trading days. Now, you can see the rush up on the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart trend potentially has changed to up, but, overall, just go back to the daily. This is still in a downtrend on the daily. This is just corrective, maybe putting in a lower top to move down. So I'm not getting too excited. I'd be monitoring the actual range that we've been forming for the week, because that might be the range for the week. And then we often fail at 62 or the 79% level of the range. So at the moment, it's not wanting to get to the 62. So I'm just sitting, waiting to see where if we can move further up, where do we maybe start to hold? We did have a bit of a imbalance down here. So that will be seen on the 15-minute chart. I just scroll this over. Got the fib drawn. There's a bit of an imbalance up there around about the 109 level. That could need to get filled. There's actually one a little bit higher up, but the 109 level is in line with the 79% level. All right, so with that in mind, I might just squash that in. So there's an imbalance in here. 79% level at 109.02 and the figures up there. So I will just be waiting to see that. So that's the whole range of the week at the moment. So I would just be waiting to see if price could come up to this level and what does it do. All right. And there's a 109.12 level. We could definitely come back up to the 109.12 level. I wouldn't want to be selling. If you're looking to sell this at the moment to the downside, I wouldn't want to be selling too close to support, which is 108.33 down here. All right. Seeing a reversal up here gives you plenty of room to manage your trade down to 108.33 retesting. All right. So the other side of the equation is if we come down today to 108.33 and start to hold, you could be looking for a trade back up from that side, because that's obviously strong support. It's last month's low. It's a weekly swing point. All right. But with the day chart trend down at the moment, I will try to trade in line with that trend, and the highest probability, better risk reward scenario would be to try and trade down from up here if price could get up there today. All right. Euro yen. Now this is an area that I put out on Telegram today. Broken weekly support, 157.99. The figure here, 79% fib. But if we just have a quick look see at the day chart. So this is the weekly high there, the weekly chart. We've been trying to hold above there, but yesterday with the poor Euro PMI data, we did sink below. Now the trend on the weekly though, from a swing point perspective, it's higher bottom, higher top. I mean, over the next few weeks, we could pull back and see a pullback within the range. Doesn't necessarily mean that pullback is going to change anything of the long-term trend. It maybe just needs a pullback within the weekly trend. All right, that weekly trend is not changing with this pullback at the moment. We could just be looking for a retracement to maybe the 62% level, the 79% level before we put in another higher bottom on the weekly to move up to a further higher top. So all we're seeing at the moment is on the day chart, the trend on the day is turning down, and we may see further movement, down that range. So the level to watch is the area that we dropped back below yesterday, 157.99. So on the 15-minute, I could go to the 4-hour chart, but what I'm doing on the 15-minute is drawing a fib across that 4-hour range there. Seeing if we're going to come up and put another lower top in on the 4-hour chart. I'm looking at the obvious level for failure, which is that resistance level. All right, so pretty much the 158 level up to 158.04, just watching that level. Lachlan, you're asking me what's the difference between a false break and a retracement? Well, it depends what time frame you're looking at. So we are false breaking the weekly high, with the weekly high. So, we're rejecting up here in false breaking. We're not able to hold above. Now that false break is really just telling me that we're probably going to drift down the range. And then I would look to monitor the range over the next few weeks for a pullback. This is the day chart now, a pullback to maybe the 62 or the 79, for then the long-term trend to reform to move back up. All right. Now, if we broke below this significant low, we're probably dealing with a long-term reversal, but that's just, hopefully that answers your question. All right, great. All right, so at the moment, I think we're having, some form of retracement. So I'm just monitoring this level up here, the 79% level, and that resistance level in the figure. Do we get a reversal from the area today? We've always got this imbalance here that the market's trying to fill from the news event of yesterday as well. Euro pound, not easy, this pair at the moment. It's very range bound. The weekly chart, it is a lower top to a lower bottom, but this is a clear area of support. These weekly lows to the left, and there's a monthly low here, which is a weekly low as well, and a weekly low here. So it's struggling to be down, breaking down below the area. Okay, it isn't a downtrend, but you need to know where to fight your battles. You don't want to sell into support. It's fine to be short into support, or with the idea that the market might break through support, but you don't want to be selling at support. You want to obviously have gotten short higher up, because support's clearly showing there at the weekly area of support. So we've got two weekly areas of support here, 85.18 and 85.04, which has clearly gotten traded below this week, but it's coming back up. So I would suspect at the moment that we are going to have a retracement within this range. And trading this way is counter trend. So, trading with a trend, I will just be monitoring the 62 or the 79% level for price to come up, and then do we start to falter and see a lower top forming there in the day chart for the next go to try to drive down and through those weekly support levels. Okay, so I'll be waiting for some kind of rally to finish at the moment, looking for the next downward move. All right, let's get into pound dollar to the day chart. Range bound. We've actually been at both sides of the range this week. So if you were very, we keep rejecting this weekly top here. Go to the weekly chart. It's this top here, 126.79. We keep trading below, popping back above. We're not able to break the weekly trend down at the moment. There's a minor weekly higher bottom here that we can't break. And if we just ignore this area because we keep chopping below it, we've got a clear range here. I'm just drawing it roughly at the moment. All right. We've been at both sides of the range this week. You could have actually traded down from the top of the range this week and traded up from the bottom of the range. If you just said, okay, this is a range, it's offered two great trading opportunities, one from the top, one from the bottom. Now, at the moment, it's not perfect because we're sitting right in the middle of the range. It's sitting right on top of your weekly support level. Now, you could, we did have a massive rejection yesterday. You can see below weekly support, we've had a good rejection candle, another rejection candle, a further rejection candle. We could be forming a triple bottom down here for the longer term. The trend on the higher time frame is up weekly, monthly. So you could be looking at the support level now from the weekly chart here to trade up. The 50-minute chart at the moment, you could just be monitoring this level. Do you see this hold through the trading day to trade back up? All right, this is weekly support. All right, personally at the moment, because we've definitely been playing at the outskirts of the range that I've just drawn in for you, I would much prefer to look at the outskirts of the range. But what I prefer and what the market will do will be two different things. So at the moment, I would be looking down here for further support and looking up here at the moment for, again, to be resistance. The market's just range bound at the moment. So, and as I said on Tuesday, or I've said in the week, in any event, we don't have an FOMC event. We don't have an FOMC interest rate decision this month. It's approximately 4 weeks away. So no interest rates this month. So the market then is a little bit, doesn't have an interest rate decision to decipher and react to for a good month from the US. So, all right. So I'd be treating that still as a range at the moment. Trading in the middle of the range is not ideal, but you could watch 126.79 over the next couple of days and what starts to happen at that level. But I'd look to the outskirts to trade on that pair. Pound yen, which was showing a beautiful uptrend. It has changed the day chart trend to down. However, it is sitting on top of weekly support. So it does make life a little bit difficult. Has that been a false change of trend on the daily? And is it just going to reverse straight back up? We don't have to argue about what the weekly trend is. It's quite clearly up here. All right. So we're just having some shorter time frame change of trend or a dip down. Today, if we close above this level, you'd have to start to look at that level to be support once more. So I maybe need 24 hours to decide. It's a little bit different to the euro yen. The euro yen closed below its weekly level of support, whereas the pound yen is closing above. So they're telling us one's telling one story, one's telling another. All right, so life becomes a little bit difficult. And you can see it here early in the day. When the day started today, the new day comes around here. We got support down on the weekly support level. So it's already proved to be support once today. So that would be the level to watch here at 18400. You know, what happens there today? If we move back down to that level today, does it hold? Do you see a reversal? Do you see a setup to trade back up? There's an imbalance that started here. There's a gap in here when some news came out. All right. So we're trying to fill that gap at the moment, what we haven't. And under normal circumstances, we would, over a period of time, come up and fill these areas. So with that in mind, you know, if this dipping back down to 184 and holds, I would have the mindset that maybe we would come back up and fill those areas. All right. But in any event, if you're looking to sell, you know, don't be selling too close to 184 because it is an area of support. All right. I mean, of course, yesterday's range you could monitor. So that's high to low. And the 62 level lines up quite nicely with the pivot point and the 185 level. So if you're looking to sell, that would be an area that could offer resistance. That gets you to the top of this gap, but you still have this imbalance up here too. All right, so you can watch this area, but you know, if I was looking for a sell, I would be looking up to this high area here, the pivot up there, and today's projected high up there, 185.54, and the 7% fib at 185.38. That would be a better area to sell. I mean, that's in line with the day chart downtrend at the moment. So looking for an opportunity to sell would, you know, look up high up if price can get there. But there's maybe opportunity to trade maybe up first of all if it once more retests support and holds. And then once it reclaims these, you know, the gap in the imbalance, that it may well top out intraday to move back down there. All right, over to Aussie yen. It's rather horrible at the moment. Aussie yen, it's not going anywhere too quick. It's just holding at around about the 94 level. All right, can't get above the 94 level. I don't know why I've got these red lines on there. Okay, refreshed. So it's struggling at the 94 level. And I did say this the other day on Tuesday. If you look at my 4-hour charts, I've got the high of last week here and the low of last week identified. And we're just trading up from weekly support, the 93 level. And Tuesday, we were a fraction short of the 62 of the range of last week. And today we managed to pop up, but you can see 9,400. This is 9,406. It's very difficult for the pair at the moment. So if we are going to be holding, for example, this lower top, lower bottom, are we coming up to form maybe a lower top on the daily to try to move through 93, the weekly support from over here? You know, we could be flying around about the 9,400 level. So today, if we did have a further attempt up there at 94, you could, you know, draw a fib across wherever the lowest point is of this move. 79% level there is at 94.08. 62 levels at 94.01. You could be looking up for a rally up here for a further failure, maybe. Getting short for that move, potential move down, maybe. The Aussie dollar has popped up a little bit, but that is looking a little bit like it might be topping out too. So Aussie dollar, this is the 4-hour chart, and this is the range of last week. We're up at the 79% level of last week's range. Trading back below now, as I'm talking, the monthly resistance level. So we did just pop above it yesterday. So on the day chart, there's your monthly level of resistance, 64.58. What was support got broken last week. We did pop up on the US news yesterday, but you can see today we're below that level at the moment. So if nothing really changes now, we end up with that kind of rejection candle that's forming, then we could have false broke above, moving back below to trade down. All right, even though it's traded above this level of broken support, this is still lower top, lower bottom. This is just potentially coming up to form another lower top. And as I've just said on the 4-hour chart, when I'm monitoring last week's range, it's at the 79% level, failing today. This could now be looking to trade down to the 127 extension, maybe. All right, so on the 15-minute chart, you know, monitor that resistance level, 64.58. Where do we close over the next 24 hours? Do we close below? We're probably at least coming down to fill this imbalance over here to the left, which really is there at the moment. And we've nearly come down to the top part of the imbalance, but of course we've not filled the imbalance. So we could well be just moving down to completely fill the imbalance. All right, so through the trading day, you could, you know, we might come up on the 50-minute chart now and just want to hold at 64.58. That could be a good seller's level. You know, the risk of selling at 64.58, stop above today's high, is only 30 pips. All right, looks larger than it is. It's only 30 pips. So, and then you could be looking to see whether you could trade it down, you know, back down this fib range. Last week's lows at 63.64, so that's a good 63.64. It's about 90 pips away. So risking 30 to make 90, risk reward of 1 to 3. Okay. All right, New Zealand yen. This is how I left it on Tuesday. It's come up. This is the range of last week. It's rather consolidated. It looks very similar to the Aussie yen price structure. Maybe putting in a lower top at the 79% level there. But I'm leaving this one alone at the moment because it doesn't seem to want to move below 86.13 at the moment. And there's not much room down to 86.13. There's only 30 pips. So at the moment, I'd just be waiting for some form of breakout and better price action on the New Zealand yen. But ultimately, support is at 86.13 at the moment. And really resistance is up here at 87.30. All right, but we might be seeing, if we drop to the 4-hour chart, we may be seeing the high forming up here at the 79% level for the week to move down to the 127 extension, okay? That would be the roadmap according to the fib. All right, but of course you don't want to be selling too close to support. New Zealand dollar. Now we came up to pretty much the pip to the monthly broken support level, similar to what we've been discussing on the Aussie dollar, but the Aussie dollar just came above its level a little bit. So the day chart there. I put out on Telegram today, I was just looking for a retest of that level today, but it didn't quite get there. Got a little bit short by, I don't know, 5 pips. All right, so we could just be forming a lower top here to move down, keeping the trend in play here. All right, you know, same with the Aussie dollar and same with the New Zealand dollar. Their monthly resistance levels that we're talking about at the moment. Until we get I would say, a strong close above. We did get a close above on the Aussie yesterday. But if we can't close above again today, that's probably a false break above. So, until on the New Zealand dollar here, we can get a strong close above 59.85. You just have to accept that maybe this is just holding its trend to move down. And really, that's in line with this long-term double top. And if this long-term double top's in play, then the target for this double top here is all the way down at 55.85. So, you know, getting short up here or close to 59.84 today would be ideal because there's, you know, 400 pips down to the target at the moment of room. All right, so for our chart, you can see this could still come up later in the day when the US news comes out and have a go at 59.85. So here's the 50-minute chart. Doesn't look like it wants to get up there anytime today. All it's really doing is the rush up yesterday, the imbalance that started to form, which started here, is similar one to the one I was showing you on the Aussie. It's wanting to come down and feel it, you know. Yes, it could get back up there today if it really wanted to, but now that's had a very strong move down. If it does decide to cycle back up, I will just draw a fib and look to see where the 79% level is and see what price action does around that level if it can cycle back up today. All right. So not able to get a retest up there today. All right, dollar CAD. Now it has a nasty candle yesterday. Talked about the imbalance there on the day chart to the left. It's filled that. And then of course, that's where the top of that imbalance is. We've got daily resistance at 135.67. And of course, whilst we've spiked through there, didn't like it yesterday, but that rejection candle, we really need to now move below, I think, 135.01 to start to get too excited and really break this swing point low as well. This area here needs to get broken before we get too excited about reversal. Okay, because one news candle, this is really, you know, if you drop it down to the 4-hour chart, structurally, it is still holding a bit of structure here. Back to the day chart. There's a range here. Draw a fib across that whole range. And to the 4-hour chart, you can see there's a low here. We came down to test that low, holding at the 79% level, and it's starting to reverse back up. This is going to come back up, I'm sure, to challenge the resistance level. It's getting support down there. So until we can break support down here, there's still a chance this could move up and through, even though we're at high levels. So it's not really yet totally proven to be a reversal. Now, what could happen on this dollar CAD, though, that was quite a significant reversal on the day chart, is we could come up and retest the 135.74 top to the left here and form on the 4-hour chart some form of head and shoulder pattern. All right. It is at the moment the way I'm drawing. Well, this is a lower bottom to that bottom there. Of course, that bottom there is high to that bottom, but we could come up like so. .62% level overlaps with the daily level that I've already got drawn in. There's another daily level just there. It's last week's high at 135.74. So, you know, we could come into this area here and want to turn over. So that's well worth watching if we can do that. And so watch up there for further failure, but at the moment, the day chart trend is just holding its uptrend. So, you know, true reality is that there's been a 79% pullback there on the daily range, and we could be getting support there for a move back up. Okay. But it does look a little bit suggestive on the day chart that we're at a high level there, feeling an imbalance where we could be topping out. But if that US dollar still wants to hold its, you know, hold its strength and continue up, then of course this is going to move up with it. All right, dollar franc. I would look at a different pair at the moment. You can see this is my day chart. It's very range bound in here. We're actually stuck between monthly supports and weekly resistance. Monthly support to the monthly chart is this low here. And weekly resistance is here on the weekly chart. So it's that low. That's a monthly low. Of course, it's a weekly low too. So it just stuck between those two price points. overall the weekly trend is down. You know, at some point this might put a lower top into turn back around, but that day chart there is very sideways. Look at all these candles are sitting in that range. And that range is only around about 63 pips wide. So it's not a great range, is it, to trade in? So I would just leave that pair alone at the moment and wait for some better price action. All right, dollar yen. We just, we have had a reversal down. Edwin, I don't know whether you got short up there the other day because you were talking about it, but we're having a minor day chart trend to the downside form on these yen crosses at the moment. Well, the euro yen, the pound yen, and now on the dollar yen here. The New Zealand yen and the Aussie yen were already kind of in a downtrend. So a little minor lower top forming here, but you can see the weekly level up 145.06. Whilst we closed below it yesterday, we're back above it today. So, this is maybe just a little bit of a correction. It's just reacting to some news. But ultimately, we're not having a second day follow through below that level at the moment. All right. If you want to be on the short side, if you think this day chart trend where we've got a little minor lower top to a lower bottom is forming, then you need to monitor the range of the lower top to lower bottom to look for your short. For our chart, there's the range that's been forming this week. So if we are going to hold this downtrend, even though we're getting back above that weekly top at the moment, this, the seller's level would be up here at the 79% area. Okay. Somewhere in this area here. We could even draw the fib across that range. And the 79% level overlap. So that top there, so for our top there at 146.12. So 146.12, 14600, that kind of area there could be where we were moving back up to, and then does it further want to put in maybe another lower top. And when you tell me you missed out, yeah, I remember what number you told me, and I was looking at the charts the next morning, and it didn't. I thought maybe you didn't get in. All right, so it could go either way here. We did dip below weekly support, but now we're moving back above. So who's in control? Weekly support's in control in the short term, but are we coming up for another lower top? So if you want it to be a buyer, then of course today, if we can get any further movement back down to weekly support, I'll just drop this to the 15-minute chart. If we come back down to weekly support today, so looking at weekly support 145.06 down to 14500, if you're more on the buy side because you think we're false breaking weekly support, then this is where you want to try to get in. In actual fact, see, it blew up on that 15-minute candle above, became support here to move up. So it might not get back down to that level today, but if it does today, that's where the buyers are coming in, just underneath there, around about the 145 level. So there's two sides of that market at the moment. Don't forget where the long-term trend is. The long-term trend is on the buy side. So, looking for that lower top to form. Yes, it could form, but you are pushing against the long-term trend there. All right, let's get into gold. Now, we're actually false breaking weekly supports. It's a difficult one at the moment, gold, from a long-term perspective, because on the monthly chart, we've got this triple top. All right, we've got this old area over here that that's at 119.20. So we're kind of at that level right now. Is Is support coming in, or can we move back down below? You know, from a pattern triple top, are we moving, you know, long term down the range? That triple top can be seen on the weekly chart. 1, 2, 3. We formed a lower top here, but you know, we're getting some support. We did move below that low, but we are obviously getting support there. So, you know, is that weekly trend? Even though we're moving up this week, in terms of tops and bottoms, that's a lower top. We do have a lower bottom here. So this could actually come all the way back up here and put in another lower top, right? So from a weekly chart perspective, by the rules of tops and bottoms, this is in a downtrend. My big swings on the day chart, if I draw a fib across the big swings, 79% levels all the way up there. It's a long way away at the moment, 1961. What I'd like to look at is, we've actually, in fact, I can't do that because we're having a week up, so I can't look at the weekly range. So I'll just look at the 4-hour chart. You know, at the moment we are having a week up. We could have another week up. You know, the weekly range to monitor. Now, if we're going to put in another lower top is here. So at the moment, we could see a rally back up at the moment, back up to the 1959 level, 79% levels at 1965. So we could be moving up back up there before maybe putting in another lower top on the weekly. On the 4-hour chart here, I'll just get rid of that fib. With the 4-hour chart now up, you know, it is overextended on the 4-hour. You know, the last 4-hour range for the fib was there. We're up at 200% level. So this is the profit taking point. So redraw your fib, and you know, if we are moving back up the range at the moment, then look to buy a dip. So monitor the fib range. Can we get a pullback to the 62% level? 79% level. All right. For a further move higher, of course, we're moving above this 1916 level at the moment, but it is overextending. We may need a pullback to then move up. All right, and that weekly range is there. You know, are we moving up to this area over the next week or two? That's the seller. That's the big sellers area. You know, if the weekly trend is going to hold its overall position to down long term, then we might see a day chart move up to that area and then do a top out. But in the short term, I think the 4-hour chart needs a pullback for, you know, a continued move up towards that level. Okay, that's how it looks like. It's what it's trying to do at the moment. It's obviously finding some strength down from that weekly support level. All right, any questions? So the market's just absorbing that news from yesterday. I'm just going to drop back to the euro dollar. Yeah, you could definitely be watching 108.33 today for support. Whilst I said this would be the higher probability area for a retracement rally back up, if we are holding at weekly support, you can see actually we held there. Let's just go to the 4-hour chart. We held here, and we have moved up to a higher top there, so we could actually. So that was an earlier test this week. We could actually form some form of inverse head and shoulder pattern here on the 4-hour chart if weekly support wants to hold. So I'll just drop that back down to the 15. So that's your little left shoulder here. Your head's obviously down here. And 62 levels at 108.30 and your support's at 108.33. So a right shoulder could potentially form there. offer support for a move back up the range. All right. That's not out of the question. So as I did say, I'm pretty sure I said earlier, there's two sides of that market at the moment, the buy side and the sell side. All right. Any final questions? While you're waiting for a question, just let you know, next webinar coming up from me will be next week on Tuesday, more analysis. So that will be the 29th. On 30th, Wednesday at 7 p.m., go through risk and trade management and more analysis on the 31st. All right, so we're getting towards the end of the month. If nothing really changes, it is looking like the US dollar may have a very strong month up. Does that mean we're going to have a further strong month up next month? We'll have to wait and see. But if nothing changes in the next week, it's looking like we may be having a very strong month up for the US dollar. All right, everybody, no more questions are coming in. So thanks for your attendance this week. As always, have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everyone.